Merry Christmas! Welcome, my name is Kirsty, welcome to Kirsty Knits and Sews and a very special edition of 12 Cast-Ons of Christmas. If you've been here before, you will know that I didn't do a Vlogmas this year. If you haven't been here before, welcome. I didn't do a Vlogmas this year, but I did decide to jump in with Yarn and Yarn's 12 Cast-Ons. And I'm calling it 12 Cast-Ons of Christmas as a bit of play on the 12 days of Christmas. My plan is to start today, December 26th, Boxing Day in Australia, the second day of Christmas here in Poland where I live, and to cast on something new or start a new project every day. It won't necessarily be a cast on, it may be crochet, so a hook on, don't know what we call that, or it may be dyeing or spinning for a project. But starting a new project every day for 12 days, and I will vlog about it, take you along with what I'm doing a little bit, and show you, what is going on. This is something Yarn and Yarn does to set up her, Angela of Yarn and Yarns does to set up her making for the year. 12 projects probably will not last me a year, depending on what they are. Some of them could easily last me a year. And I don't have really any plans other than starting them in the next 12 days. I will figure out how I choose what I need to work on going forward, but right now I'm excited to cast on something new. If you have been around on the podcast when I spoke about this idea, I had these plans of having all the projects picked except for maybe one or two and doing them randomly, and everything else having the bags picked beforehand. And I counted up how many projects I had either patterns for or yarn for or both, and it was around 35. It was 34 or 35. It was a lot. Since then, I've made at least one of them because I did a quick Christmas knit for one of my teachers, and that was one of the ones on my wish list. But I also realised in the lead up to Christmas that life was just crazy. I had a lot of things to do. We were hosting Christmas here. We were going to a Christmas Eve thing at someone else's house. I just was not going to have the brain space all the time to prepare those bags or sit down. But also, I kept jumping around which ones I actually wanted to start and make, because some of them are, I have a purpose for it, some of it is a gift knit, some of it is I just want to play with this new yarn, or yarn that I've had sitting there for 2 years and I haven't started the project yet. And I finally went, you know what? I'm going to embrace the chaos. I'm going to embrace the random, because in this case, I think that's going to be a lot more fun. So, what I did was I have these little a little notepad that's got a little llama in a party hat, and I just wrote all of the projects on these things. Now, some of them are specific projects, which I will have the pattern and the yarn for. Some of them are, some of them I'll have to buy the pattern. Some of them I will hopefully not have to buy the yarn, but we'll go stash diving to see what I have to make the yarn. Some of them will be scrappy and I'll just be starting with what I have and then adding to it as I finish other projects. Some of it is an idea. So it might be a jumper for my husband, in which case I have ideas for patterns and I have yarn, I'm pretty sure, but I haven't figured out exactly what I'm doing, or a dress for myself out of a certain type of yarn, but I haven't actually settled on the pattern. So there'll be some creativity juices going at the same time. But yeah, I actually don't know how many are in here. I think it's about 34 or 35 still. It's not quite the original list. There have been some additions since I did that. Since I went to the yarn show last month, there have been some changes to my wish list. So I am really excited to do that. Yeah, they are all fibre. There's no sewing patterns. It's all knitting or crochet. But like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it here or not. I was just talking to a friend about this, but it's all knitting or crochet patterns, but some of them will require spinning and some of them will require dyeing. So over the next 12 days, I actually don't know what to expect, because I may end up dyeing something. I have a few quantities of yarn that are set aside for projects but not yet dyed. Or I bought some grey yarn for a sweater for my husband and then realised it was the wrong grey, and so that needs to be re-dyed before I can use it for a project, because it will not suit anyone in our family. So there are things like that where who knows what the next 12 days will bring. And I'm really excited about it. I do, like, we currently have guests here. We had people over for Christmas yesterday, and one of the families decided to stay the night. And so we've had just a really relaxed, slow morning with all the kids running around, and it really feels like Christmas. But it means that I have no idea how much time I'm going to have to do this every day. I snuck away for a few minutes. We just played the Minecraft game, which my son got for Christmas, the board game. And so I snuck away to do this so that I can cast on and then knit with my friends for the rest of the afternoon, assuming it's a knitting one. Maybe it's a dyeing one and I'll just have to wait until later in the afternoon to even start. But yeah, I just have no idea. And I do have another friend coming to visit for 6 days in this period. So my plan is to do it every day and to record and to edit every day. But the reality is that I may not be able to edit every day. And if I can't do that, then I will still cast on and record as I can, and then I will edit throughout January and post them as I can. As much as I would love to do 12 in 12 and post 12 in 12, I also recognise that that's not always possible. So I hope you're here for it. Stick with me as we go through this. And I hope you're excited. I'm excited to pick the first project. So I sat down a few days ago and I wrote on this little notepad all the different things. This morning I folded them up and just put them in this. It's actually a plant pot. I bought it from my local plant shop, but I use it to store sewing things for my sewing desk. So here we go. I'm actually quite nervous. All right, I have one. They are all on the same paper, so I have no idea what is what. Let's have a look. No way. Oh my goodness. All right. I have the camera around the other way, so it's not going to focus properly, but it says Heritage Harbour. I'm so excited. All right. So this one was actually inspired by Yarn and Yarns, Angela of Yarn and Yarns, who I'm joining for the 12 cast-ons. She has just finished or almost finished her Heritage Harbour that she started last year, and I loved it. So when I went to the yarn show in Wrocław at the beginning of December, I actually was able to buy some yarn to make this sweater. I don't have the pattern, but I have eyed it since Tashi, I'm going to get this wrong now, Tangles and Starlight, Stitches and Starlight, she's one on Insta, one on, anyway, she did the test knit and I loved it, but I was like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. And then I saw Angela's of Yarn and Yarns and I was like, yes, that, I love that. So I went out and bought yarn. Let me go grab it and I'll show you. All right, I'm back and I have yarn. So Heritage Harbour is a jumper, which I will put a pattern up here or a picture up here so you can see it and picture it a bit better. But it is a jumper that is majority one colour and then it has stripes of another colour. And I've seen a lot where they've done 2 different colours as the stripes instead of 1 colour as the stripes. But I think, I'm going to have to double check, I think the yarn I have, I could get away with just 1 colour as the stripes for the size that I'm doing. It would be tight, like it's slightly less than the pattern says, but usually the pattern will say 10% more than was actually needed. And so if it is actually 10% more than is needed, I should make it. If it's not 10% more, I probably won't. So I need to double check that. But this is the yarn that I got. So this is Martin's Lab Tyrrell DK, which is a 100% superwash Polworth. Martin's Lab is a Polish dyer. I picked this up at the Yarn Festival in Wrocław earlier this month. Yes, we're still December. It is December 26th. I'm pretty sure I said that. And I was excited because I don't think I've ever knit with Polworth. I've seen it. I think I have like the tiniest little fluff of it to spin just to have a bit of a play with spinning it. And I mean the tiniest, like a tiny, tiny little bit that someone gave me in Australia just so I could have a bit of a quick play with it. But I've never knit with it, and I've never spun with it yet. So it is a new to me fibre, and I've heard about it a lot but never used it. Then when I went to the yarn festival, Martin's Lab had a box of like last skeins. So maximum they had was four of a colour, but it was basically just last skeins, and it was discounted. And so I had a look through, and I found 4 of this colour, which is Thicket, which I love. The visual that the name Thicket gives me, it just made me kind of warm and cozy. So I got 4 of these, and that is enough for the main colour for me. It is DK, and it is 225 metres per 100 grams, or 246 yards per 100 grams, which, yeah, I've never used Polworth before. I'm used to it being more 210 metres per 100 grams, so this is a little extra, but it meant that I only needed 4. So I picked this colour as my main colour. I have a lot of sweater quantities in brown waiting for me, and I have a lot of blue jumpers, and so I was trying to find some Exhibit A. This is Maggie by Comfort Zone Knits, another Polish designer. So I have a lot of blue, and I'm trying to expand the colours of my sweaters because I wear a lot of jeans, and blue, I do it all the time, but it's the denim-y colours that I tend to wear as jumpers, and so when I wear them with my denim jeans, I just look very blue. So I'm trying to get some colours in here. Anyway, so I picked this one, and then I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do the light gold as the contrast, or whether I wanted to do this. I wasn't sure if that would make it too Christmassy. I was buying in December, and so Christmassy was on my mind. So I wasn't sure whether I want to do that one and have a slightly more Christmassy look, or that one, or whether I wanted to alternate these. But because these aren't the same value, like one is clearly a deeper tone than the other, I wasn't sure if that would make the sweater look off kilter. So this one, the pink one is Petals, and the other one, the gold one, is Wheat. Right now, I'm leaning towards this and just having a more toned down sweater. That one would be fun. I don't know. By the time you see this, I may have decided. But what I will probably do is cake up, buy the pattern, because this is one I don't have. But I will probably cake up a couple of these and just both of these and find needles and start. And then when I'm knitting, have a bit of a play and see which one I actually like. I'm not going to gauge swatch. Let me just tell you that now. If the jumper ends up bigger or smaller than planned, I don't mind. If it doesn't actually fit me, I'm okay to give it away. But the gauge swatch, I hate the gauge swatch, and I live with the consequences of not doing a gauge swatch. And if that's too much stress for you, then thanks and I'll see you later. But every time I do a gauge swatch, it's usually because I'm doing a test knit and I want to make sure I'm getting gauge. And whenever I knit the actual pattern, it never matches the gauge swatch. And I think it's just because when I'm doing, I think it's the stitches bunch up because I'm not doing like large circumference. And so it just changes the gauge. So even if I'm doing it knitting in the round, because I'm not doing the full 200 stitches, it still is different. And so I've just given up. And I just cast on and go with the consequences. Alright, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cake these up, or some of these up. I'm going to cake these up, and I'm just going to start. I don't know. I'm sure that everyone's like, I know what I would do. Like my friend Rosie would totally do that. I don't know. I like the more subtle nature of that. Today. But I kind of did want the 2 different colours, and if I do that, we'll see. I told you, No plans, just chaos. Oh, I'm so excited though that this was like 35 and I was like, I really want to cast this on. Full disclosure, I have had a few moments of, do I just pick a couple that I'm definitely going to do and then randomly do others? And I have had a few moments of, if I pick one that's dying on a day that I can't dye, do I give myself permission to just pick another one, or do I try and fit dyeing into that day? I don't know, guys. I haven't figured that one out yet, but man, I am excited that this was the first one. So I'm going to go get out my caking up stuff, cake it up, probably in my bedroom because, yeah, the house is a bit chaotic at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to go cake this up and find some needles and buy the pattern and get started. I just finished winding up my wool and I'm just packing away the yarn Swift and Ball winder. I think I'm probably just going to go 2-color. I checked out the pattern and for my size, for recommended ease, I could do 2 different sizes, or for what I usually do for a jumper, it would be the size smaller. I think I'm going to do the smaller end of the recommended ease, which is 4 inches of positive ease, which means that I have enough of these colours to do them, assuming that there's a 10% buffer and I'm about on gauge. I am generally pretty happy to just play with the pattern or the length of the sleeves or the something to get what I can with what I have. And I think I'm going to be tight on the main colour anyway, so we'll just see how that goes. But I think I'm probably just going to do these 2 colours. I think having this one being so bright, these 2 don't interchange well in my mind as a contrast colour, because it is meant to be one contrast colour. And they're just different enough in colour, but mostly in tone, that I just probably won't. And I'm really enjoying the idea of having just a calmer sweater. I'm planning for this to just be a cozy sweater, but also one that I can wear out if I'm going somewhere and need maybe a bit of a dressy one. I don't know. But I don't know. This is speaking to me at the moment. So I think I'm going to start with this, and maybe when I get to the second contrast colour, see if I want to bring in the pink. But if I don't, I'm very happy with this. That one, it would be fun, but I just want the calm today, so that's what I'm going to go for. I did still cake up the third one just in case, and because I wanted to be able to maybe try it out, but I will see how I like, once I add the first contrast colour stripe, how I'm feeling, whether I want to try for the second. The pattern is by Samantha Gurin. I'm not sure if I said that before. I now own the pattern, yay. And yeah, it'll just be hopefully a pretty simple knit. It is a top-down construction, so you cast on the back and you knit down the back until you're ready to join, and then you pick up the shoulder stitches to knit down the front, join the front until you're ready to join in the round, and then you join in the round for the rest of the body and pick up stitches, knit them top down for the sleeves, and then you pick up stitches and knit the collar. So there should be no seaming at the end, which I'm very happy for. And I like doing top-down sweaters, whether it's drop shoulder or another type. So I'm very happy that this is a top-down. I'm not a huge fan of bottom-up sweaters, just for sizing and yarn chicken and all those things that I play all the time. Again, not gauge swatching, don't hate me. Or do, that's up to you. I do have a little stitch marker that says 1. This is another idea from Angela of Yarn and Yarns, because she has little stitch markers 1 to 12. Now, I bought these. This is Knit with Sis, which is a Polish brand that does leather goods for knitting. So this is a little leather heart that has a 1 stamped on it. They do have, let me think, they do have like needle cases and stitch stoppers and a few other things as well. Really, really nice and in fun colours. But I got these ones because I knew I was doing 12 cast-ons of Christmas and I wanted to have numbers. The numbers they had were 1 to 9 and a 0. So I thought I would do, the 0 was 10 and that would be okay. But then I actually did a spinning workshop with one of the sisters in Knit with Sis. And as a little thank you in the workshop, she gave me another 2 leather stitch markers, but I think circles of different colours. So I thought one of them could be 11 and one could be 12. And it's just to mark my project, so I know which ones were my 12 cast-ons for this year. Just a bit of fun. So I've got that. I'm just putting it on my bag at the moment on the zipper pull. This is the bag that I pulled out. You can see the sheep in the sweaters. So it is a sweater bag. I deliberately made the sheep big enough to be a sweater bag. And if I do like an all over Fair Isle, then I may swap out my bags, but this is the only one I could find that's big enough and empty. So this is what we're using for today. And I've just put my stitch marker on the zipper pull at the moment, but I will transfer it to the project when I start. I had all the needles I needed in my stash, meaning not being used for another project. Yay. Except for the larger size. I don't have any 6mm needles, so I pulled out 5.5mm, but since it's only for a bind off, I think it'll be okay. And yeah, in my bag I have my other 3 skeins of the main colour that I will pull out when I need. So I'm going to go cast this on. All the kids I think are playing Minecraft at the moment. There are our 2 kids, and then we have friends over who have 3 kids. I think the youngest is having a nap and the other 4 are playing Minecraft. So I'm going to go sit down in the crazy, cast on my sweater, decide whether or not I use the pink, even though I think I probably won't. We'll see. If you know me at all, you know that I like colour and I like colour play and I like crazy, but I also like wearable. And I think the pink would be fun, but I don't know if it would be as wearable. But I may start knitting and go, no, I want the fun anyway, whether it's more or less wearable. I don't really care. So we'll see what mood I get to when I get to my second contrast colour stripe. It is time for me to go to bed, and I thought I would show you what I have done today on the Heritage Arbor. So I'm on the back. I'm almost maybe an inch away from splitting or from stopping the back and picking up the shoulder stitches. You can see there is a much higher contrast in the pink with the pink than the wheat, but you can also see it that I decided to do both colours. I wasn't far past the wheat, the yellow gold colour, when I decided that I think I did want to do both colours, and I'm really happy that I have. So this will be the back of the sweater, and it is drop shoulder, so it'll probably be more like that. But yeah, on the back. I love it. I'm so happy that I am doing both colours, not just the gold. Yeah, I love it. And the pattern, yeah, it is simple to memorize, So it'll be quite an easy knit, even though it's got some texture and colour changes. It's just going to be one that you'd want to keep knitting because, yeah, it's just groups of 4. And so you're like, I can just do the next 4 rows. I can just do the next 4 rows. And it's going to grow so quickly. Yeah, so there you go. That was really, most of that was done in the last 2 hours. Yeah, I did cast on earlier today, but it was really after the kids went to bed that I got to knit. So, Heritage Harbour, cast on number 1, which reminds me, I will put on my stitch marker to say that this was the first cast on of the 12 days cast ons. So I'm just going to put it on here in no particular place, just as a, this is day number 1. So there you go. Oh, don't pull things out. Day number 1. And already you can see quite a size difference in the colours. So I did only cake up one of the green. I think I'm going to have to cake up the rest after not too long because this is going to grow so quickly. But 12 cast-ons means that tomorrow I'll be working on something different. And this is something that, as I've been watching other people's 12 cast-ons, they mentioned this is part of the trouble of 12 cast-ons is you start something and you want to work on it and then you don't get to work on it for 2 weeks because you're casting on everything else. And I thought, yeah, but also, like, you get to start all these new things. And all of a sudden I'm like, I just want to work on this. Like, this is so much fun. I just want to keep going. But tomorrow will be something different. So I'm going to put this into a bag, say goodbye to the Heritage Harbour jumper, and we will see it again who knows when. I have decided, I've got my Advent dress that I'm still knitting that I haven't even shown on a regular podcast because I haven't done a regular podcast in December. But I have been working on an Advent dress and I have 5 colours. Oh, I'm putting all my yarn into this bag and it's falling out again. I have 5 colours left to add and then the sleeves to do, or 1.5 sleeves to do. And so I've kind of decided that if I have a day that I can't, or like that I have knitting that I can do before I start doing the 12 cast-ons for that day, I'll work on the Advent dress. But you never know, this may pop in there again. So that is where I'm up to on Heritage Harbour. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.